Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over 10 things to avoid doing or buying in GTA Online. A lot of players make mistakes, a lot of people get stuff that they shouldn't get, and a lot of the time it's not a matter of you shouldn't get it, it's when you should get it. So in today's video, my goal is to tell you guys some things that you should try to avoid doing until you're at least a higher level or more established in GTA Online. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, dislike if you don't, of course, and subscribe if you guys are new and you like this style of content. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I have on my list is buying custom weapon workshops. Now, buying custom weapon workshops back in the day was totally fine. Everybody could do it. It made sense. You should have at least one. However, now, well really since 2023, within the Freak Shop business, there's actually a weapon workshop in there that's available for anybody to use at pretty much any level. It's within the Freak Shop where you complete the Acid Lab missions. If you guys are unfamiliar with where that is, it's right here on the map. I will show you guys on screen, underneath the big spaghetti overpasses on the highway here. Now the same goes for the gun locker. All you need is to just get one and you don't need another one ever again. Now, if you were to purchase a weapon workshop or a gun locker in every single business, you would spend over $1 million doing this. So really all you need is one of each. And what I would recommend doing if you're gonna go through the trouble of buying a weapon workshop, you might as well go ahead and buy the one that's in the agency, because you get a guy you can purchase weapons from, you get a gun locker, and you also get a weapon workshop. You get all three in one, and the agency is a great business to begin with, so that's the one to get if you're going to get any of them at all. So yeah, avoid buying custom weapon workshops as well as multiple gun lockers. You do not need multiple of them. Get one, get it in the agency, that's it. Up next, we have a business that you should avoid buying, and of course it's the document forgery office. It's simply not worth owning. It can soak supplies occasionally when you do stash houses, if you sell it occasionally, so it's really annoying when your supplies end up going to your document forgery office instead of one of your actual profitable businesses. It's also barely profitable if you supply it yourself, and the sale amount is like essentially nothing. It's like $150,000. It's really not that much money, especially for how much time you have to wait for it to actually make the product. And it's also not worth it for owning for the nightclub basement, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Unless you're trying to sell full nightclub basements, you don't need document forgery, and trust me, waiting for the documents to fill up in the nightclub basement is like watching paint dry. It is stupid, it takes forever, and there's no point in it because it's one of the least valuable things in the nightclub basement. In fact, it's the least valuable thing in the nightclub basement. It also doesn't make it extra worth it for the discount in the salvage yard on some of the purchasable cars, and the reason is we never ever get the free cars in the salvage yard, and all it does is make the price $10K to claim them instead of $20,000. It's not worth it for any of those reasons. All it'll do is soak supplies from stash houses or cost you a lot of money to operate it, and you'll make no money off of it anyways. Document forgery office is a terrible business. Nobody should buy it. Next up, we have another business, and this is vehicle cargo. Now, vehicle cargo people will defend this business to the end of the earth. Well, it's the fastest way to make 100 grand. No, it's not, because you're gonna have to put in like 20 hours into the business to source all the cars so that you can only sell and resource the high value cars, which is how you optimize the business to make the most amount of money possible. But even then, when you sell them, you make like 100K per car, but then there's a 30-minute cooldown between sale missions, which is stupid. Vehicle cargo was good for when it came out, like don't get me wrong, when it came out, it was fine. But out of all the businesses in GTA, this is probably one of the worst ROI businesses in the entire game. It costs a lot of money to set up. Like I said, it takes a lot of time to get it to the point where it's as profitable and as efficient as possible. You'd be better off buying a completely different business. Next up, we have bunker research and setting staff to both within the bunker business. Now, if you're trying to make money with your bunker business, assuming you own one, you need to set all the staff to manufacturing. Research bleeds your supplies, and most research projects aren't really worth it anyways. And you'll barely be breaking even on purchasing supplies if you have your staff set to research and manufacturing. So save your research for way later in the game if you want to do it. You can also fast track research, which will cost money, but it'll get it done really fast. So that's the way to do it. But you should only have your bunker on manufacturing. You should not have it on both. You should not have it on research. I don't recommend any of that until you have a lot of money later in the game and you're fast tracking your research. But even then, there's still not much that you can get through bunker research that's even worth it. So I would just say to generally avoid bunker research and set your staff to manufacturing to try to make as much money as possible with the bunker. Now, something to avoid purchasing are most Pegasus vehicles. Now, I'm not saying you should never buy a Pegasus vehicle, but 90% of the Pegasus vehicles in GTA Online are almost entirely useless. The only exception that I can think of off the top of my head is probably the Insurgent pickup. And it's the only one I would actually recommend, and the only reason for that is because you can actually upgrade it into a custom personal vehicle variant that gets a bunch more armor, that becomes faster, and becomes customizable. That is really the only Pegasus vehicle that is like super worth owning. A lot of people will talk about, you know, I want to get a Luxor, or I want to get a Frogger so that I can call it to the helipad or the airport and I can take off with it. The truth is there's already going to be a Luxor or a Frogger at the heliport. And the other thing is, when you call Pegasus and you arrive to the heliport, 50% of the time the thing won't even spawn, and they'll call you back and be like, oh yeah, sorry, we couldn't deliver it. And then it's just an inconvenience because you're going there anyways, but chances are the heliport would already have the thing you're looking for anyways, you know, or the airport. So please just avoid purchasing most Pegasus vehicles. Most of them are trash. There's no point in having literally 95% of them. 95% of Pegasus vehicles are useless objectively. Next up, we have the Arcade Master Control Terminal. Now, previously I have recommended the Arcade Master Control Terminal, and while I don't think the arcade is a bad business, especially this week when this video is going out, it's actually on sale. So if you were ever going to buy an arcade, now would definitely be the time to do so. But in late 2024, we got the Master Control Terminal as an upgrade in the Terabyte, and it's roughly the same price or cheaper than the arcade. Obviously not when the arcade's on 30% off, just saying. But the Terabyte can be requested to a location nearby to you instead of you always having to travel to the arcade. And the Terabyte can be spawned even if you're up in like Paleto Bay or Sandy Shores, for example. So instead of having to drive all the way to the city to source supplies, you can source from the Terabyte in Sandy Shores or Paleto Bay, and you don't have to come back to the city if you got something else going on up there. So in the long run, it's way more convenient to have it in the Terabyte. Now, I will just say though, allegedly the mansions are supposed to have a master control terminal of sorts, perhaps even an upgraded master control terminal when they release on December 9th. So you may want to wait before pulling the trigger on getting a master control terminal in the Terabyte or in the arcade until after the mansions come out. But nonetheless, this is still pretty good advice that I would say you should probably get the master control terminal in the Terabyte instead of the arcade. Not saying to not buy an arcade, but I'm saying if you're going to get a master control terminal, the Terabyte is a lot more convenient. So do that. The next thing is something that's mainly for lower level people that don't have a ton of money in GTA yet, but buying multiple vehicles that do the same thing is a very bad idea. Until you're well established in GTA Online, there's only really a handful of vehicles that you need. For example, you should buy one good Imani Tech vehicle like the Bravado Buffalo EVX that you can also put HSW on, or the Bravado Buffalo STX, for example. Then, attack helicopter. You only really need one. Fighter jet. You don't even really need one, but if you want one, just get one. Buy one fast HSW car, and just do that until you can afford to get exactly what you want. But initially, I would recommend getting what will best serve you. So if you can get the Ocelot Virtue for free by completing the last dose missions, you'll also get an acid lab on the way to that. That's a good way to get an Imani Tech car that's decently quick, and that'll serve you well for a long time. So I would recommend not buying multiple vehicles that do the exact same thing. Next up, we have another business, and this is the bail office. Now, initially, I thought this business was okay, but it has pretty low payouts, and the missions are quite boring and repetitive. Really, the only one that's worth doing is like the high profile mission every day, but even still, like, it's kind of not worth it. It's not worth buying the business for that. It also only has a 2-car garage, which is pathetic in my opinion, and it really feels like something that should have come out in 2015 if I'm being completely honest. Now, the bail office does have the agents you can send out that will like get you passive income, but it's one more thing that you have to do, and it still is going to take forever to pay off the business. So overall, I would say avoid the bail office. It's not a very good business. Please don't buy one. Next up, we have buying the Mule Custom for the nightclub basement deliveries. There are 3 nightclub sale vehicles that you can get: the Speedo Custom, the Mule Custom, and the Pounder Custom. However, you only actually need 2, being the Speedo and the Pounder, because the Speedo can be used for the smaller nightclub basement sales, whereas if you are over the threshold for the Speedo, it'll just use the Pounder automatically. It can do medium and large sales, and the Pounder, while being annoying itself to drive, is so significantly better than the Mule Custom. It's not even funny. The Pounder is faster, it has better weaponry, and it'll save you a few bucks to use it over the Mule as well by not having to actually purchase one in the first place. This is also very important because unlike most vehicles in GTA Online, once you have bought the Mule Custom, you cannot get rid of it. So please don't make the mistake of buying a Mule Custom, because you will regret it, I promise you that. But the number one thing in GTA Online to avoid is being scared of making mistakes. Now, this might sound like it goes completely against everything that I've said in this video, and that's almost the point of me mentioning it, I guess, is that everyone has an opinion on how to play GTA Online, quote unquote, the best way. But in all honesty, the only reason I know half the stuff I know is because I've made mistakes. I've bought bad vehicles without looking into them. I've bought objectively terrible businesses and missed out on a lot of opportunities. But the truth is, this game is really overwhelming, and there's a lot to try to micromanage when it comes to not messing up in GTA Online and not spending money on stupid stuff. So the best thing to take away from this video is to simply avoid falling into the trap of thinking everything has or needs to be perfect. I'd still say that a lot of the advice you've heard in this video is stuff to heavily weigh into your GTA Online journey decisions, but don't be overly scared of anything that I've mentioned. If you already own a Mule Custom, for example, it's not the end of the world. You already have it. There's nothing you can do. There's no sense in being upset about it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But that's the thing, guys. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are how you learn in life, and you can apply that to GTA Online. Does it suck to spend $2 million on a car that isn't actually as good as many other $2 million cars and then go to sell it for half price? That sucks. Avoid doing that if you can, because it's going to cost you a lot of time. But at the same time, you won't forget that lesson, and you won't forget that that car sucks ever again. So it's not all that bad, guys. That's what I'm saying. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider dropping a like and subscribing if you guys are new. Dislike if you didn't enjoy, of course. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Until then, take care. Peace.